Hello, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Happy Avatar The Last Airbender Day. This set has finally released onto Magic Arena, and I gotta say, I'm actually kind of hyped for it. I wasn't at first, but after looking at all the cards that came out, I got kind of excited because there are a lot of new things to try out with this set. Unlike Spider-Man, it didn't really bring us a lot of new toys. This set seems to have a whole bunch of cards that are going to create new archetypes or at least breathe a little bit of life into old archetypes. And the first one I'm trying out today in this video is a deck that harkens back to Favorable Winds, a 2 CMC enchantment that gives all your flying creatures +1/+1. Well, we now have Air Nomad Legacy, a white and a blue enchantment that does exactly the same thing, except it also creates a clue token when it enters the battlefield. Back in the day, I think a lot of people were really attracted to Favorable Winds, especially new players when they first come to the game. They see that card and they're like, just 2 mana giving all my flyers +1/+1? That sounds great. I know I built a flying deck when I first started playing Magic 8 years ago or whatever it was. And that's exactly what I'm going to do today. So we're going to talk about the list very briefly and then jump into some games and see how this one plays out. Now you can also see I haven't crafted any of these new cards, and that's because I literally just woke up, the set came out, and because of my restrictions or some restrictions on my time, I got to get this one recorded and edited and ready to go out for my usual time. So we're getting also kind of a first impression of the new format in this video. Anyways, what are we doing in the deck? Well, we got a whole bunch of flyers. We got some new ones like Momo. Momo's going to be fantastic in this deck. This one says the first non-lemur creature spell with flying you cast during each of your turns costs 1 less to cast. This thing's going to be great for helping us get out like a cheap Empyrean Eagle, or if we have to respond with an Aang or even Interrupter on our turn. That's the big thing on each of your turns, so a little bit of a downside. Then it says whenever a creature you control with flying enters, Momo gets a little bit bigger, +1/+1 until the end of turn. There's a second Momo card. This one is a little bit different, Playful Pet. It says when this one leaves the battlefield, we get to choose one of the following ones. Create a food, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature that we control, or scry 2. We do have a way of making this leave the battlefield. Well, other than our opponent murdering it. We are playing Sunpro Kirin, 4 copies of this flash card, 2/1 flying, and this one says when it enters, return up to 1 target non-land permanent you control to its owner's hand. If it was a token, draw a card. Now this is important because we can return Momo if we really are in a spot where we can return something. But I think more importantly, we're going to get a clue token from this. Now, we could just pay the 2 to draw a card, or we could play out our Kirin and just draw a card that way. We're also playing 3 copies of the Spyglass Siren, which is going to create a map token, another pretty good card to pick up with our Kirin. Spectral Sailor might be a good card to flash in or to help us draw some late game cards if we're starting to flood and we don't have many cards in our hand. We are playing a little bit of protection with the Plume Creed Escort. We are playing Wan Shi Tong, the Librarian. I think a lot of people are hyped up about this one. It's going to be a very powerful card to put out. Also another way for us to draw some cards. And then I think the real reason to be playing this deck is because we have 4 copies of Aven Interrupter and 4 copies of Aang, the Airbender, right? Let's start with Aang. Aang says, when Aang enters, airbend up to 1 target creature spell or a target creature or spell. So we can bounce something off the stack or we can bounce a creature off the field. We can bounce our own creature. We can also bounce one of our opponent's creatures. So we can use this offensively or defensively. We can do a lot of things with Aang. Airbend, if you're not familiar with it, it kind of, well, that's okay, it's right there. It says to airbend a permanent or a card, exile it. If a card is exiled this way, its owner may cast it from exile by paying 2 rather than paying its mana cost. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this already because a lot of people are doing this with Dock and getting the free enter the battlefield effect because Dock reduces cards cost from outside from exile or from other places, I think, by 2. So a lot of people are mixing Dock with Aang. It's going to be a problem. You're going to have to kill your Docks as soon as you see them in the future. But mix that along with Aven Interrupter. Aven Interrupter says when this enters, exile target spell, so we get to bounce something off the field, it becomes plotted. Then spells your opponents cast from graveyards or from exile cost 2 more to cast. That should make the cards that we bounce with the airbend cost 4 instead of 2. Overall, I think the deck's kind of cool. I don't know how well it's going to actually play out because, well, the meta is going to be weird, but we're going to try this one. We're going to see how things go. We also have, I guess I should mention, Abandoned Air Temple. If we do Flood, pay 4 mana, tap this, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. We are going pretty wide, so this one might be kind of cool, also from the Avatar set. So we are going to craft this one up and, yeah, test it out. See you over in the games. All right, game number 1. Let's hope this one goes well. My opening hand looks pretty good. We have our starting town mana for the Spectral Sailor. We have a little bit of interrupt later on with the Aven Interrupter. And yeah, maybe things are going to go well. Anyways, I know it's early. The set has just come out, and by the time this video comes out, it will have only been I don't know, probably 24 hours or so. But what have you been playing? What have you had success with? I'd love to know. So I am going to go out with Momo, and the reason I'm going to go out with Momo first is because whenever we cast another creature with flying, we are going to, that's a little annoying, pump up the Momo. Maybe I should have led with the starting town instead of the planes. That was definitely a little bit of a mistake. I could have taken a little bit of damage. I didn't know what I was against. We were against pretty annoying deck. But the Aven Interrupter is going to be very good against the Kona deck, because even though they try to give it hexproof, it's not going to work out for them. But anyways, starting town, I should have probably gone out with it early on, because I could have then put out both of these Spectral Sailors and been swinging in for a little bit more damage. But it's fine. Momo, yeah, it's going to be pretty powerful. It's going to give a lot of little chip damage over time. Okay, we can't put out the other Momo this turn. We're just going to get in for our 4 damage. Oh man, starting town, if I had held that back, I would have had 4 mana open. It would have been so much better. Okay, I got to imagine they're going to go after the Momo. Yes, 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 yes. Bounce that. So let's get in for 3 damage. We're holding up the Aven Interrupter still because I think they're going to be playing the Kona, and we need to bounce it, right? As soon as they get the Kona on the field, we're dead. Things are also not really looking good, because next turn they're going to be able to do it because we don't have any other defense for it. Ooh, okay. Stuck up. Go for it. If this were any other deck, I think I'd be brave enough to run out the Aven Interrupter just to do it. But considering what we're playing, considering the deck, I can't do it. Okay, we will put out the Momo. We'll attack in for another 4, or 3 rather. And how much damage am I looking at? I got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So potentially 8 damage here. Are they going to go for it? They don't go for it. Even with the Cavern of Souls on Beast. Surprising, surprising. Okay. What are they up to? They're doing something. Notably, we don't have... Oh. Okay. That's cool. That hurts. They're going to put a bunch of stun counters on our stuff. Ouch. Okay. I think I had to let that go, but that really slows me down. Okay. We can at least get this other Momo out now. Attack in for 1. But now with these ones being stunned, that's actually kind of huge. Maybe I should have put out the... no, I wouldn't have had the mana to put it out. A lot of white here. So we can bounce the Kona. Get it back into their hand, but... Oh, is that enough damage? 2, 4, 6, 7? It's not enough damage. It's just not enough. Right? Man, that sucks. Is there any way I can swing this so that it is enough damage? Man, stunning my creatures was huge. I could put out that Momo, but that Momo doesn't do anything. Did I miscount? They were at 7. They weren't at 8. Oh, that's okay. I was looking at the wrong number. That's what happens when as soon as you wake up, you jump onto the arena here. Wow, that was the best top deck that we possibly could have gotten. They had the Lost in the Maze. That's the first time I've seen Lost in the Maze used to bounce or to tap down so many creatures. Very heads-up play by the opponent. I think that was quite smart instead of just running out the Kona. But, Aven Interrupter getting around the Cavern of Souls. Love it. In a way, I'm very glad that it happened that way, because one of the things that I've been kind of annoyed with and kind of struggling with is, this is a sketchy hand. We're going to try this one. I don't like it, but we're going to try it. The thing I've been struggling with is dealing with Kona and Kavaro through the Cavernous Souls. Because, of course, you put in your counter magic, but then they have the Cavernous Souls out, and you just can't do anything about it. But the airbending gets around that. Aven Interrupter gets around that as well. Do I want to also put out the Plume Creed? I don't know what they could possibly be on, but if I put out the Plume Creed now, it's going to be another flyer, and then next turn we can go out with the Empyrean Eagle maybe, or the Aang. So yeah, I think, you know what, I don't mind just loading up the board with 2 of these creatures. I think I got to look into another 2 CMC flyer that would be really good for the Momo turn. Okay. I think I'm just going to attack in for 3, and I'm going to be countering whatever they put out with Aang or with the Aven Interrupter. It's a Lumbering World Wagon. Easiest counter of my life. Let's go with the Aang. Aang being legendary is another thing that I'm kind of wondering about. Also with the Momo, in that last game, we had 2 Momos in hand, but we couldn't put one of them out because of the obvious reason. Do I want to... You know what, I think I'm going to go Empyrean Eagle, Empyrean Eagle. It's a little bit greedy, but I don't see them having a... Oh, I can't do both, right, of course, because we only get the reduction on Momo for 1 part, or 1 time. If we draw a land, it's going to be fantastic. I don't see them having a board wipe, is what I was saying. And they got to do a lot with this 3 mana that they have available to them. Okay, they just get run over, absolutely stomped on by these Flyers. Okay, coming right out of the gate. Like, the Flyers looking really impressive here. This is a ton of damage on turn... Okay, turn 5 is not my usual turn 4s, but -7. If they stumble a little bit, if we have a way of slowing them down just by 1 turn with the really good tempo that we get from turn 1, turn 2... I don't think I did my normal salesman pitch. Hey, sub up if you made it already to game 3 and you haven't done that yet. You must like something about what I'm doing. So yeah, hit the subs button, definitely leave a comment. I really appreciate that. Do you keep 3 islands? We do have Wan Shi Tong, so this is going to help us draw a card on turn 3. Oh my gosh, it's not good enough though, right? No, I guess. Oh, yeah. Okay. No, we're gonna throw this one away. Yeah. Oh no. Oh no. 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 Oh no. The deck's having problems. This is the Azorius mana base coming back to bite me now. Oh, I can't. We're going down to 5. I'm sorry, opponent. I know it's my go, but you should see this hand. Okay, we'll throw away the Plume Creed or throw away the Sun Pearl Kirin. Oh my god, no. The Kirin might actually end up drawing me a card later on. I know the opponent's probably getting pretty annoyed, but like, sorry. We need a sorry emote. This was rough. This was really rough. Okay, let's go with... Okay, the Momo was actually a pretty good draw here because it gives me a little bit of a play with the Sun Pearl Kirin. I don't draw a card, but I at least get a Scry 2 if I want to. Okay, the opponent on a Golgari deck. That's interesting. So, Paw Patch Recruit coming out. This must be like a Vine Lasher type of deck, I think. So we are going to get in for 1. And then I think I'm going to just hold the Sun Pearl Kirin. See what they end up doing. Probably going to be bouncing the Momo. Getting the Scry. I think we need the top couple cards of our library to be in a little bit better shape than... they look right now. And if we can blank this Shoot the Sheriff, that's pretty good. Okay. Momo, back to hand. I could put the +1/+1 onto the Sun Pearl, but it's got to be the Scry, right? I think I value... Friendly Flyer's okay, because then next turn we could go... No, we can't do... I was going to say we could go out with the Empyrean Eagle as well, but we don't have the mana for it. So if I keep the Momo, keep the Restless Anchorage, and put out just, yeah, okay. We're just going to be putting out the whole Air Force and then following up with the Empyrean Eagle on the following turn. I think it's probably fine. Yeah. We'll take 3. No big deal. They are stuck on 2 mana. Maybe they should have thought more carefully when they were rushing me. Yeah, they should have thought more carefully about their deck and their hand. Keeping 2 lands? You can't keep 2 lands. That's what I'm rambling about. They have 1 mana open. They were earlier. They were giving me the your go, and now we're gonna be slow. Okay, do I want to go with the Momo or the Spectral Sailor? I think I'm okay running out the Momo. Momo has Vigilance. It's going to be a pretty good attacker on the following turn. We're going to put out the Empyrean Eagle. And then, yeah, getting in for a good chunk of damage. Okay, well, they drew their 3rd land. And I guess you do keep a hand with Ouroboride, right? Every single time. So now I guess we're on a... we're dead next turn, right? So we'd have to like kill them this turn. Isn't that the way it goes? All right. Well, we were on to Mull the 5. I think that's pretty good. On maybe we're not dead because we do have Momo, Playful Pet, and we do have the Spectral Sailor to jump in here in front of something. They are going to be coming in with at least 9 points of trample damage. And I do have to pay 1 for the Spectral Sailor. So my mana base is hurting me quite a bit. So it looks like I'm going to have to put the Momo and the Ouroboros. Wow, what a blowout. What a good card from the opponent. So now I don't think there's anything I can possibly do, right? Attack all. Sure, I flash this in. This is going to do the 1 point of damage to me. I take the 9 damage. I think I was dead no matter what. I guess I could have put 3 things in front of before they killed the Empyrean Eagle. I could have put blocker, 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 but then that would have left me with just 2 cards. Ouroboride, proving itself to be an insanely busted card if it actually hits the field and lives. Okay, but not a big deal. We got game number 4 now. We got to take some lumps, right? And if the lump is against Ouroboride, it is what it is. Oh, this hand looks a little sketch, but I think it's fine to keep it. It's much better than the other ones that we were debating in game number 3. We can go out Wrestlage, Anchorage, and into the island, and then we'll have the No More Lies to at least defend ourselves if we need to. We can just flash in the Sun Pearl Kirin on turn 2. But we are going second again, and going second in best of 1 is the surest fire way to lose games. Man, look at this. This is turn... Okay. I actually can't allow this to happen because I can't take that much damage. I'm going to be taking 7 damage here. Of course, they don't have the recursive damage with the Rakshasa right now because it's going to go into the graveyard. But we are already down to 11. That's an okay card. I guess I'm just... Yeah. Having the early Cecil is really powerful for the opponent. Time Color. That's fine. Okay. Aang coming in to show how powerful he is. So Cecil, get out of here. And then Aang jumps in front of the Timeline Color, and we are now in a better position. They can get the... I think this is fine. They can get the Cecil back if they want to pay 2 mana for it. But we could also do a bunch of shenanigans here. If they go after the Aang, we can Sun Pearl Kirin it back to our hand. We could also just counter the Aang or the Cecil right now, which I don't hate. It looks like they're kind of stuck on mana. Yeah. Let's get it in. Return 0. And hope to draw... Gosh. Gosh. Okay. Here's the plan. We're getting in for 4. We're going to hold up the Sun Pearl Kirin. If we need to bounce something, we're... Oh, I think we killed him. No, we don't. Not quite. This is fine. So Sun Pearl Kirin, bounce the Aang. Whoop. And we'll get them on the next turn. And this looks oppressive. So this turn we get them for 4. Whatever they play out, we bounce with the Aang, and then we just have 6 on the board, and we still had the Restless Anchorage there. So wow, that although they had a really good early start, that Aang going in, bouncing the Cecil, killing the Timeline Color, really just swung everything on its head. And then Rakshasha, very cool card, but getting in just for 5 damage for 2 after 1 turn, it's just not really good enough. You need to be doing some kind of shenanigans with the Rakshasha to really make it worth it. Okay, 3-1, game number 5. The deck's performing pretty well. Remember, this is a deck that I just threw together. This is the first iteration of the deck. Hey, we finally see Air Nomad Legacy. Do I want to put out the Spyglass Siren? How badly do I want to put it out? Maybe not that badly. Lead in. Ah, man, I can't wait until we get. Well, let me say that a little bit differently. I was gonna say I can't wait until we get Hollowed Fountain, but actually, once we get Hollowed Fountain, it might actually be a big problem. So, we'll see. We'll see. Air Nomad Legacy, anyways, can come onto the field. The opponent has the authority of the console, so I have to imagine that they're probably on an artifact deck, synthesizer deck. But we got to go first, so now we get to Aang and Empyrean Eagle and do all this fun stuff. So I guess that's exactly what we're gonna do. I like this card a lot. Personally, I'm a fan of clues. I think clues are really cool cards. Let's get rid of that. You know, I really wish the game were a little bit built a little bit more around clues, because they're very fair. Here's the question. Am I afraid of this repurposing bay coming down for 2? They're going to then be able to do something with the Cryogen Relic. So we've just kind of delayed it for 1 turn, but I think we're going to get hit. You know what? I'm going to put out the Air Force now. Get in for 4 and give them a lot of trouble here on the field that they have to deal with. They're gaining a little bit of life, of course, but if they use their turn to put out the repurposing bay and go get, I guess they could go get the Oblivion Ring for them. But what are they going to take? The Empyrean Eagle or whatever? They don't really have a good target for the Star Cage because we just have a whole bunch of 3s, powerful 3s, and it doesn't hit the Air Nomad's Legacy. They decide to go United Battlefront. Okay. Just whiff. Just whiff. Saw Blades. Oh my god, double Saw Blade is actually like probably the best thing that they could have gotten, right? That's tilting. That's absolutely tilting. Okay, we can do Air Nomad's Legacy again, or just hold up the Aang. But the Aang is not going to be great here because they'll just be able to replay out the repurposing bay. I think we have to do it, though. It's a synthesizer. Yeah. Wow, I can't believe that hit, though. That's just brutal. Okay, and they're just going to replay it, which is fine. You're allowed to replay it on the same turn, so they get their double scribe, but they didn't get the chance to put out the repurposing bay. But now I think I'm pretty dead unless I hit... I don't know what card I could even hit. They have 5 mana, so No More Lies doesn't really work. They're going to get this repurposing bay onto the field, and once they get that onto the field, they have the Cryogen Relic to sack. They have the spring-loaded Saw Blades to sack. Like, they have just so much. I don't think this is a win here. So we could put out the Air Nomad's Legacy at the very least, and then draw a card with our... Well, let's draw a card with our clue. Aven Interrupter is good, but it's not good. So at least we get in for 8. Did I say 8? 7? Having counting problems again. But I have to imagine this turn, I don't think they can win here. But it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And there's the Perilous Snare. So they hit the Aang. They hit us with, well, they're not going to be doing anything with the repurposing bay this turn. We do have the Restless Anchorages, notably. But now we have two 8/8s coming at us. They're going to get, next turn, they're going to get the Fire Crystal, right? So we're just kind of dead. Okay, let's attack in with the 3/3. We'll see what they do, but I think that double Saw Blade is what really just flipped this whole game right on top of its head, and I'm not sure there's actually any coming back from it. But we'll see. Maybe they got the Fire Crystal in hand, and they can't hit us for that much. However, if they play out just two artifacts, they get these 8/8s up into a higher power, and then I'm going to be chump blocking something. I don't care about the repurposing bay, because they already have a repurposing bay. Oh, that's right. Okay. That's right. It makes one as well. All right. So I have to go in with the... Oh, no, the Aven Interrupter doesn't work because they have the authority of the consoles on the field and I tilted out too hard. As soon as the Saw Blades hit, that double Saw Blades, I think my whole brain, my whole world cracked. To be fair, though, I don't think there was a winning line with the cards that I had after they did that. If you see it, let me know. Okie dokie. New game, new attitude. We're putting those Saw Blades behind us as usual. Okay, we got a lot of the early stuff, which is maybe fine. We'll try this out. Man, this Restless Anchorage has just been a little bit of a... I like the card. I think it's good to have this flyer in the deck. But boy, oh boy, is it just annoying. When you're playing a deck like this, you definitely don't want to be playing too many tap lands. And we have Starting Town and the Restless Anchorage both being annoyances. Do they block here? Do they ever block? Let's see. No. Okay, in that case, do we put out the island and then flash in the Sun Pearl Kirin? I don't hate it. Okay. Maybe we can get a kill on the Healer's Hawk. And now with this Abandoned Air Temple, we might actually be able to pump up these little 1/1s quite effectively. Giada, that's good. No, they don't. Okay, so I think I am going to still throw in the Sun Pearl Kirin. I am going to bounce the Momo. And I think I'm going to scry, not put the +1/+1 counter on it. But the +1/+1 counter means they have to block with the Giada. And I do have okay cards in hand. You know what? I changed my mind. Let's do a counter. That's not a good not a good card though. We do get to go out with the Restless Anchorage while we have the chance, and I think I'm okay just attacking in. I don't think there's a world in which they throw Giada in front of the Sun Pearl Kirin. I'm constantly wrong though on these things, so yeah. And we put out our Momo. We hold up our blue mana for the Spectral Sailor. And if they decide to attack in with the Healer's Hawk, I'll probably 100% put the Momo in front of that so that it dies. We have a backup one anyways. And then I get the +1/+1 counter maybe on the Spectral Sailor. Is this when it leaves the battlefield? It is. But they're probably going to hit the Sun Pearl Kirin. Hitting the Momo is okay. Let's do that. Let's put a +1/+1 counter on this Spectral Sailor that just showed up. And if they want to come at me with Giada, I'm cool with that. Nothing. And we continue to draw nothing. Let's... Okay, the plan... Well, now the plan is not as simple. I could draw with the Spectral Sailor, but I think probably it's better, now that I know I have the Abandoned Air Temple, I'm just going to go Momo into Spectral Sailor, into Air Temple, and try building a board of 2/2s. Okay, opponent stuck on 2 mana, but now they got a 3/3. That's pretty good. We're still slamming, though. Sun Pearl Kirin and Spectral Sailor are definitely going to be going in on them if we go the Abandoned Air Temple route. This is instant speed. Okay. Let's go. Let's get frisky. Okay, Spectral Sailor gets to trade with the Angel. I love this land's pretty cool. I don't hate this. We are down to 3 creatures and no more action, though. We need an Empyrean Eagle. Empyrean Eagle would be really good right now, and Aang would be okay. Because we could bounce the Giada, although I don't know if I want to bounce the Giada. Yeah, it's not too bad to bounce it. Nope, instead we're going to draw trash. Okay, well, we do have also the Restless Anchorage, though, for a follow-up at some point. But I think the plan is just to put so much pressure onto the opponent with these +1/+1s. They can get rid of one of these things. Not the Sunpearl Kirin with the Giada, though. Okay. Interesting. Interesting choice by the opponent. Are they dead? What? Into very interesting blocks by the opponent, and I guess they just didn't know how to handle a bunch of 1/1s. Even without the cool cards in the deck, we can still get it done with this nice new Abandoned Air Temple. All right, in our 7th and final game, we currently have a winning record, 4-2. So no matter what happens here, we're good. That's cool. I like to see it. What does that mean? Usually you know what? I gotta pat myself on my back a little bit here. And I don't know if you've noticed it in games, but some of the times my opponent will play out like a single land, and in the video I'll say, oh, they're on XYZ. They're on this. And I don't know. Quite often I'm right about that, and I think it's kind of cool. You know, I always kind of you smart little bugger. I guess you play enough, and the meta is stale enough. Is that the right word to say? That you see the same decks over and over and over again. Not a good thing, but that is what it is. But then when the opponent plays out a Multiversal Passage on green, yeah, I don't know what that means. Okay, we are going to Aang. Is it Aang or Aang? It's Aang. Aang? It's gotta be Aang. Get rid of that. They have 1 mana open. Do they have something? Oh, no. They just had a tap land. Okay, so we can get in for a little bit of damage, and we missed the land, which is brutal, but we do have a lot of instant speed things that we can react with. That's fine this time. We're in the air. I don't really care about a Fenris. Maybe what I do care about is them getting something bigger, because it kind of looks like they're working up to like an Ugin, maybe. Another one of those. So we will get rid of that. I think that's fine. We are shields down now, though. But we can maybe surprise them out of nowhere, because they are getting a little bit low on life. We do have cards that we can put onto the field and then surprise them with pump-ups. I really wish I had that Momo, I think, for that Empyrean Eagle discount would have been nice. You know what, Momo's the fact that it's during your turn is making me wonder if this is not really the right place for the Momo. It's definitely a good card because it gets bigger, but I don't know. I'm not overly impressed with Momo. They get in. Are they dead? Okay. Are they dead? I think they're dead. Hey, look who showed up. I'm sorry, I was just talking trash about Momo, and Momo comes flying in. And I suppose we go out with the Empyrean Eagle, swing in. I don't know. That looks like lethal to me. Yes. Fliers. Fliers have some wings. He said it. He said it, guys. He said the thing. Look at this. Avatar. Okay. Hey, you want to see something neat? Look at this. I completed this. Your go. Win a game where you only cast spells on your opponent's turns. Definitely not a control player. I never had that achievement before. Okay, so first impressions of the flying deck, pretty cool. I think we went up against some relatively real decks. I didn't see a whole lot of new stuff going on from opponents, but to be perfectly honest, this deck felt a little bit oppressive in a lot of these games where we were just holding off what they were doing. We were putting up a very good early board and able to do a lot of damage in the air before the opponents could really get a foothold. The new card that I'm impressed with, obviously, this guy, Aang, is great, right? I know it's Aang. I was messing around earlier. It's Aang. He's fantastic. This thing is going, you're going to see this card all over the place. Get ready for that, whether you like it or not. This card is incredibly powerful, I think, and it's just going to be very annoying to deal with. Air Nomad's Legacy, it's not flashy, but it's doing exactly what you would expect it to do. We have a whole bunch of good low-end flyers. You put out a lord that can't be interacted with very easily, and of course it's going to be pretty good, right? I was more impressed with this Momo than I was with this Momo. Although Friendly Flyer was getting in some nice damage, I kind of built this deck to be more reactive, right? I wanted to flash in a lot of these creatures, and not getting the discount on your opponent's turn is a big drawback to this card. That being said, I think some number of Momo in the deck is going to be probably right. I think maybe I might go down to something like that, go up maybe 2, maybe even 3 of that Momo, but I'm not really sure. Could be something there. And then unfortunately, Wan Shi Tong didn't come flying out, and I'm not really sure. You know what, this card's probably good. I only played 2 of it in the deck, and in that game where I was flooding out, where I was attacking in with the Abandoned Air Temple, which this card, fantastic. Why not put this card in basically any deck that has a good number of basics and is playing a creature-based strategy? Why wouldn't you put Abandoned Air Temple into that deck? At least 1, maybe 2 copies of it. It's fantastic. Wan Shi Tong, I think, would have been really good off the top of the deck, of course, in that game. But as we read this, I was reading it a little bit more carefully. It says, when it enters, put X +1/+1 counters on him, then draw half X cards rounded down. So if you pay 1, that's half X 0.5 rounded down. You don't draw a card on 1. You'd have to put them out for 2 to draw a card. So putting them out for X2 draws you 1 card. Am I misunderstanding? That's how the card must work. So putting them out just as a 1/1 flyer, a 2/2 flyer for value, for 2 mana, for 3 mana, I don't know if that's going to be a good deal. Putting them out for a lot more, you know, X2, X4 is going to be much more beneficial, but we're not going to really be, in this deck, having the opportunity to put that much mana into the Librarian. So I'm not really sure if this card fits in what this particular deck is doing. This might obviously be more of a control type card where they have 8, 10 mana available to them. They're just sitting on a whole bunch of counter spells. Opponents dead in the water, and they just flash this out as a vigilance attacker, draw them a bunch of cards. You know the deal. If you have any suggestions for this one, do let me know. More importantly, let me know if there are any decks that you want to see. Definitely, we're looking at the flying deck. I'm looking at also an Azorius Tempo deck, which will be very similar to this, maybe playing with just a little bit different cards, not going so hard on the flying theme, but similar build with Aang. We're going to be building allies at some point. I'm sure we're going to be doing firebending, because that's just going to happen, right? It has to happen. And there are my mono green. Oh my god, with the Zookeeper card, I think is what he's called. That card just looks super sweet. So we're going to be doing some stuff with the Zookeeper card as well. But do let me know what decks you want to see. We have the Discord. Hop in to the Discord, recommend some stuff, just ask some stuff. I am posting deck lists over there. I haven't done this in the past, but I try to do it this time. I had a little bit of time to theory craft some decks, and for example this one, and I had posted that into the Discord 3 days ago or so. So if you want to see some early decks for future sets, I'm going to be trying my best to put out some stuff before sets release. But yeah, head on over to the Discord, join up, say hi, recommend some stuff that you want to see, and all that good stuff. I've been rambling too long. Thank you very much for watching to this point. Take care for now. Hope you enjoy the rest of Avatar. And 사랑해, 이쁘나. Bye-bye.